Our next author, Derrick Ehresman, is not an author. He's just an ordinary man who publishes a semi-successful blog that expresses his frustration of living in a country that is becoming more and more hostile towards men like him. Please welcome the creator of theforgottenman.net, Derrick Ehresman.
As Dana said, I'm not an author. I am just a guy, an American who is frustrated, angry, furious at what is happening to this country. I started my blog because I knew that the persecution that I feel on a daily basis cannot be unique. I knew that there were others out there like me who feel their position being threatened more and more with every second that passes on the clock. I'm going to read a few of my posts tonight. If you're not a subscriber to the blog, I hope this enlightens you to our struggle. I'm going to begin with my first post, the one that started it all, dated November 7th, 2015, titled, "Where Are the Christmas Cups at Starbucks? Angry Emoji Face." What? I am so angry right now, I could bash a hamster's head in with a stapler. Allow me to paint the picture of the hedonistic hellscape America is becoming. I'm on my way to work, preparing myself for another punishing shift of conference calls and digital presentations composed on someone's cell phone that not a single person in the room understands how to transfer to a device that is compatible with our company's projection system. I stopped by the Starbucks by my house, not the one closer to my job, which would have saved me some time because I am nothing if not a loyal customer. Little did I know that my loyalty means nothing to the fat cats running this bean juicery. As I'm being handed my grande light roast with 4 inches left for sugar and cream, I realize the cups don't say Merry Christmas. I mutter under my breath something about the war on Christmas being all too real, and the girl behind the counter has the nerve to respond. She opens her stupid, entitled millennial mouth and says, "November just started. Holiday cups don't come out until after Thanksgiving." How dare this little monster? That's when I realized it wasn't about the cups. I was being singled out. I was being treated this way because of who I am. You see, the girl behind the counter just happened to have graduated from St. Mary's with my daughter, Jessica. I can just imagine all those years she bottled up her jealousy and frustrations, how many times that little troll lost a boyfriend, a spelling bee, or a homecoming queen crown to my beautiful little girl. Well, now it all came out in one condescending comment to her arch-rival's father. I didn't say anything to the barista, but I'm sure she could see by how aggressively I tore the wrapper from my straw and stuffed my napkins into my pockets, she'd gone too far. I didn't want to cause a public scene because I was enraged, and I didn't want to throw coffee in her face because I just paid for it. I just walked away, worked my shift, had a nice dinner with my wife, but let's just say our family is short one hamster. You see, for too long, men like me have been the butt of jokes, harassed by coworkers, even strangers. But finally, we have a man in the White House who represents men like me. Mr. Donald Trump understands the pain that I go through because he, like me, is the father of a hot daughter. Let's do another one. Dated May 23rd, 2017. Titled, all caps, he's not good enough for her, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. So we just met the piece of living garbage that is living with our baby. Last night, Jessica brought home the boy she's been seeing. He came to dinner. My wife extended the invitation against my wishes more than a year ago. And even though I didn't want it to happen, each day that passed without him accepting made my blood boil hotter and hotter until I felt as if I was going to have to pay a vagrant to punch me in the stomach again. Last night, she finally dragged him away from whatever weed house or comic book store he probably hangs out at, ran a comb through his disgusting mop to make him presentable to the people that raised her since she was an embryo, provided her with more love and affection than she could ever ask for. Understandably, I'm fuming as my wife finishes plating my food. And I'm just waiting for the opportunity to belittle this little cretin and show my little girl just how insignificant he is and that there is no room in her life for someone like him. I glare at him from across the table, and then he has the audacity to lean over and whisper something into his ear, or her ear, as if challenging me for dominance in my own home. It was like he was whispering to her, but really saying to me, "Your time is up, old man. She belongs to me now. Your testosterone levels aren't as high as they used to be, and your doctor's embarrassed every time you have to remove your clothes for an exam." I'd had enough. I politely excused myself from the table, and I spent the rest of the evening pretending to have diarrhea in the guest bathroom, keeping Prince Charming from being able to use the facilities, effectively reclaiming my position as the alpha male. Now, you might be thinking, because I didn't challenge this rat directly, that the message was lost. But I assure you, I spent the rest of the entire evening after they left screaming at my wife, veins bulging from my forehead. I knew she would deliver the message to Jessica, who would then in turn give it to the boyfriend. She'd be so embarrassed she'd have no choice but to kick him to the curb, move back in with us, and allow me to drive her to and from work every day. Now, of course, she didn't break up with him after this. In fact, they were married this past September. They have a baby on the way, and I could not be less happy about this. The baby's going to have, of course, it's going to ravage Jessica's perfect body. And then, what do you know, the holidays are coming up, and we're all going to have to sit around a table together and pretend that this isn't some horrible nightmare. So, anticipation, and in the spirit of tonight's theme, I have pre-written the blog I'm going to post the day after Christmas. Dated December 26th, 2017. Titled, "Daddy Finally Took Out the Trash." The presents had been distributed, and we were sitting down for our meal when the inevitable happened. I placed my fork into the ham, and as I raised the carving knife, that barnacle attached himself to my little girl. He reaches out, places his hand upon my wrist, and says, "Why don't you let me do the honors, old man?" A hush fell over the room. I scanned the table to get a read on what my reaction should be. My wife looked away in fear. Jessica locked eyes with me and nodded. A simple nod. Just enough to silently say, "Do it, Daddy. Reclaim your honor." I roared like a mighty papa bear and threw the overreaching vermin to the floor. He shook with fear and whimpered as I approached, my muscles bulging through my polo. I pulled him to his feet and dragged him to the front door. He tried to struggle, but I was far too powerful. I opened the door, and I pulled the beautiful wreath my wife had created with her own hands from it. I pulled it over his head and shoulders, pinning his arms to his sides, and rolled him down the steps like he was in some sort of Popeye cartoon. I re-entered the dining room, testosterone overflowing. I grabbed Jessica and kissed her passionately on the mouth. Oh, okay, this is obviously this part's a typo. I walked into the room, I kissed my wife passionately on the mouth. I'm probably not going to publish this one. I'm probably just going to do the presents and kind of see what happens there. And I think I got to go.
Derrick Ehresman, everybody. Remember, go to theforgottenman.net if you want to read more of that.